Welcome back, everyone. For this, our final presentation of the day, we explore the fast-growing area of blockchain data and ownership. As transparency increases, so do concerns about privacy control in the Web3 world. Our speaker is Alina, who is a DAO architect and Metaverse strategist based in Romania, with deep experience in decentralized design. She helps shape future-forward systems where users own their experience on-chain and beyond. Alina, we can bring you to the stage. I think the floor is yours.
Hi, Daniel. Hi, everyone. So, thank you for joining me today. So, I'm talking to everyone attending this event because I think it's an incredible conference. Talking about the work that I've done, well, since 2011, I've been focusing on bridging the gap between emerging technologies and real world impact, particularly on how blockchain and lately AI can empower individuals and communities. And today I'm excited to dive into a topic that's both fascinating and critical, I believe. Blockchain data, the ownership paradox in transparent systems. Um, and this session is about to explore the tension between transparency and privacy in blockchain ecosystems. I'm about to unpack how DAOs and Web3 communities can rethink data rights and governance uh, in a fully on-chain world. There'll be tough questions. We'll be exploring real-world examples, and I'm going to make some suggestions. I'm going to propose some solutions to ensure blockchain delivers on its promise of fair data accessibility and true ownership. So, if you're ready, let's get started.
Alina, just before we start, are you able to share your camera at all? We
No,
can hear you.
no.
We can hear you just fine. Okay, no problem. Go ahead. Go ahead. The floor is
Good,
yours.
thank you. Yeah, right. Well, and I want to start with a thing that's very important, the blockchain data ownership narrative as it is right now. So, what's the story we're told about blockchain and data ownership? We already know that blockchain is pitched as a revolution, a decentralized ledger where you hold the keys, you hold your assets, and you own your data. But let's pause this and ask ourselves, are your keys truly ours? Can we genuinely own the data we generate across blockchain systems, whether we're trading on DeFi or battling in game finance or connecting in social finance front end, or just building or being present um, in a metaverse. The moment we step into the magic circle, how we call it in gamification, like we're stepping in any experience. So the moment we're stepping into the magic circle of a blockchain ecosystem, creating a digital wallet or an account, we're generating data each second. Every transaction, every interaction, every click becomes a data point on chain. But here's the kicker. Do these ecosystems pay us for the data we generate? Do they compensate us for our heartbeats? That meaning the time we spend, the minutes or hours we invest in their platforms. Not really. So let's look at samples across different blockchain domains, front ends to see what's happening. And I want to start with DeFi, decentralized finance front ends and platforms. Platforms like A or Uniswap allow users to lend, borrow, and trade assets. While you control your wallet and transactions, the data you generate, meaning your trading patterns, liquidity provision, or staking activities, this data is often aggregated by analytic platforms like Dune Analytics or used by protocols to optimize their systems. You're not paid for this data. It's essentially a byproduct they leverage. In game finance, in games like Splinterlands, that's on high blockchain, Axie Infinity, and I want to give this example because it's a bit older and many of you might have this experience already with Axie Infinity or with the Sandbox. Players earn tokens or NFTs for in-game achievements, but the data you generate, which is your gameplay patterns, time spent, or social interactions, transactions, well, this data remains with the platform or is sold to third parties for market insight. You might earn tokens, but your data's value is rarely compensated. That goes for game finance, and I just want to be short about it. It's a lot to talk about. In social finance, we maybe know platforms like Lens Protocol. They allow creators to monetize content via NFTs or subscriptions. Lens and others even goals that id, an old forked social finance front end, which is Russian. They all let um, creators receive instant payments, and not instant when their posts are maturating after 7 days. So some of them are paying like in instancy they pay hive back dollars and liquid hives as well. Some of them like clans are paying USDCs and so on. But the data about your audience engagement or content performance, well, that's often used by the platform to refine algorithms, not directly rewarded to you. And let's go further to the metaverse. And I wanted to talk about some mm, geo metaverses, but I'm just going to skip that. Maybe we can talk about them in the Q&As. So I'm just going to refer to virtual worlds like Decentraland and well, there your interactions, where you go, what you buy, who you meet, are tracked on chain. And while you own your virtual land or NFTs, the behavioral data that you generate is often used again by developers to enhance the platform and not with no direct return to you. Well, I'm just gonna give an exception here, which is essency.com again, which can be found. It's a front end that you can find in Hard Blockchain. It's a decentralized blogging platforms on the Hard Blockchain, and it rewards users with heartbeats points earned for engagement, like posting, commenting, or just being present on the platform. I don't know, for 10 minutes, I remember. And these points can be used to boost posts or gain visibility, and in this way they are creating a micro economy where your activity is partially rewarded and your data. But even here, the broader data that you generate, for example browsing habits and so on, isn't directly compensable. So the narrative of you own your data in blockchain is only half true. We control our keys, but the ecosystems often profit from our data without sharing the value. And I believe this brings us to the to our next big question: Can we truly own and monetize our data while being active in the blockchain or gaining passive income by having our digital persona or personas in the blockchain? And what if I could tell, let's say you or me or we can take control of our data in a tangible way in blockchain. Imagine your data as an NFT, something you could sell, rent, or stake for profit. Could we as individuals package our own chain activity in a tradable asset? And what about DAOs or companies operating in Web3? Could they sell, lease, or stake their aggregated data to create new revenue streams? Think about it. And let's explore this idea and see where it's already happening. We have the individual data as NFTs. This is a concept of tokenizing personal data, and it's emerging. For example, Ocean Protocol allows users to create data tokens representing data sets which can be sold or shared in decentralized marketplaces. You could theoretically tokenize your DeFi transaction history or GameFi gameplay data and sell it to analysts or AI models for training. However, I don't know if you know, but this is still niche, and most users don't have the tools or awareness to do so, to do this. When it comes to social finance and content monetization on Lens Protocol, because we were talking earlier about Lens Protocol, creators can mint posts or profiles as NFTs. And this is allowing fans to collect them or subscribe for access. This is a step toward data ownership as creators retain control over their content and its monetization. But the platform still collects metadata about user interactions, which isn't tokenized for the user's benefit. Let's have a look at the metaverse data ownership. And we can look into Decentraland and see how users own virtual land as NFTs, but the behavioral data, for example, visitor patterns and so on, is often used by developers. A few projects like Sprouse are exploring decentralized identity solutions, and they're letting users control the data via zero knowledge proofs and share this selectively for profit. Yeah, selectively. Well, when it comes to DAOs and data monetization, I can say that we can find some examples here. DAOs like Uniswap or MakerDAO, and that's not so old, but of course it's not that new as well, MakerDAO. They both govern DeFi protocols and hold vast amounts of on-chain data like trading volumes, user behavior, and so on. They don't currently sell this data, but they could theoretically tokenize it as an NFT or stake it in the data marketplaces like Ocean Protocol. For instance, a DAO could lease anonymized transaction data to researchers or hedge funds, sharing profits with token holders. But this raises ethical questions about user consent, of course. One standout example is Chakra Labs, which is building a verifiable data warehouse on blockchain. Their MCP, their model context protocols, allow communities to manage and monetize data collectively. And this is ensuring transparency and user control, I believe. And enterprises like Chakra and its system can share data with stakeholders who might earn tokens for contributing or accessing it. And this is a glimpse of how DAOs could handle data in the future. Of course, it's not complex, it's very minimal. But here's the challenge. We see these examples and they show progress. Most blockchain ecosystems aren't designed to let users or DAOs fully own or monetize their data.
Alina,
If you
uh, Alina, sorry to jump in there. Are you controlling your slide deck at all? I think we may be just stuck on one slide at the moment.
No, I was told somebody would roll the
Mhm.
presentation for,
Okay,
so I could
thank
just
you.
focus on the panel.
Okay, Alexander or Farah, maybe we can, if we can just try to forward Alina's slide deck a little bit, that would be great. Yeah, perhaps we'll continue, Alina, and hopefully the guys will fix that in a few minutes.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah. Okay. If you can do that, I can just go on, so we can take some Q&As and have time for that.
sure. Can you see what we're sharing now? Is this the correct slide? Do you see? We
Well,
have
right now, it should be part two. So really, I don't want to mind on that presentation. I just want to go on, and if you can
Mhm.
follow up, that's good. If not,
For
that's
sure.
it.
Yeah, for sure. Let's
Yeah.
continue. Let's
Okay.
continue. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah.
So I want to tell to our participants that about this challenge. We see that the previous examples are showing progress, but most blockchain ecosystems, as I said, aren't designed to let users or DAOs fully own or monetize their data. And the infrastructure for NFT based data ownership is underdeveloped at this moment, in this momentum. And I believe ethical concerns about privacy and consent loom large are there. So, how do we move toward a system where blockchain truly delivers fair data accessibility and ownership? Well, I'm just going to bring in some ideas, and of course, I'm available for Q and A's and some meetings over the next days with whoever desires to chunk down this whole set of information. But right now, I want to talk about the solutions for fair data accessibility and true ownership just a bit. To make blockchain a fair and equitable ecosystem, we need to rethink data rights and governance. Here are four actionable solutions to achieve true data ownership and accessibility. Of course, the chunking down goes way deeper. The first one is referring to standardized data tokenization protocols. So we need universal standards for tokenizing personal and collective data as NFTs or data tokens. And as I was talking earlier, platforms like Ocean Protocol are a start, but we need a broader adoption. Imagine a wallet where you can see all the data you've generated across DeFi, GameFi, social fee, Metaverse, and so on, and choose to sell, rent, or stake it, or parts of it. Well, DAOs could adopt similar standards, tokenizing their data to create new revenue streams while they are ensuring user consent as well. Yeah. When it, the second point is that I want to talk about here is decentralized identity and ZKPs. Solutions like I was mentioning earlier, Sprouse or Polygon ID use zero knowledge proofs to let users control their data and share only what's necessary. For example, you could prove you're a high volume trader in DeFi without revealing your wallet address. This preserves privacy while it's also enabling monetization. DAOs could integrate these tools to give users granular control over the data contribution. And the third thing I wanna specify here refers to incentivized data economies. And we have, like I said, Essency who comes from Hive blockchain, but that's not the only one. And platforms like this that show how rewarding user activities like habits and others can work. We need more ecosystems to adopt this model, paying users in tokens for their data or engagement, and even retention, even advocacy. Uh, for instance, a GameFi platform could reward players with tokens for their gameplay data, which they could then stake or trade. DAOs could contribute profits from data sales to token holders and aligning this with incentives. Of course, I don't know if you know, but I've been working on hybrid DAOs, and when we have designed their white papers, analyzed everything, the algorithm for tokenization, we have included some gamified parts for fair rewards in terms of data. Anyway, the last thing I want to talk about in this panel is refers to transparent governance via DAOs. Well, DAOs might uh, they must prioritize user-centric governance instead of whales controlling 90% of voting power, and I've seen that in many DAOs. We need uh, a minimal mechanism like quadratic voting or reputation-based tokens to ensure equitable participation. And I believe DAOs need to publish clear policies on data usage. And in this way, they're letting the end user, vote on how he or she desires for their data to be handled. And we have some examples here like Aragon or Moloch DAO that are experimenting with these models, but we need a wider and more deeper adoption. So I just want to say that, yeah, we have the blockchain promise of transparency and the decentralization, and this is powerful, but we're not yet at a true data ownership momentum, because by tokenizing data and leveraging decentralized identity, even incentivizing contribution with fair rewards for the data, and reforming DAO governance based on data values, we can build ecosystems where users and communities genuinely control their data and its value. So, well, mainly that's it, and I wanted to talk about it here in this panel before I'm going to publish some articles later this year on the same stuff but with more insights. And I want to thank you for your attention, and I'd love to hear your thoughts and questions. So let's open the floor for a brief Q&A to wrap up this session. And I want to know what's on your mind, guys and girls.
Thank you, Alina. So we do have a couple of questions coming in from our audience today. The first one, hopefully you can see on screen in front of you now. So Orhan asks, DAOs vote on treasury spends, but who owns the voting patterns and member behavior data being recorded forever on chain?
Well, I wouldn't say the voting patterns, because they're not really patterns when it comes to a blockchain, unless you have a whale with a correlation trail that really likes to do the same stuff. um, so I'm gonna give you a general answer and tell you nobody owns the on-chain voting patterns, and member behavior or behavioral data in a DAO, it's also owned by nobody. It's publicly recorded on the blockchain and belongs to the decentralized network. It's accessible to anyone with blockchain access. But in fact, just because you're putting your energy, and energy is the new currency, there you should be rewarded, in my beliefs, in a fair transactional system or ecosystem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, interesting. And I guess the voting patterns are transparent for everyone, aren't they? So all the voting, the votes
Yeah.
themselves are completely transparent. I guess we can't put a name or identifiable information necessarily to those votes. Maybe it's just a number or an account, but yeah, like you say, the votes themselves. It's the nature of these DAO governance system. There should be maximum transparency for sure. Okay, let's move to our next question from Ilya. So Ilya is asking, smart contracts may enforce ownership rules technically, but what legal frameworks actually recognize on-chain property rights today?
That's a great question. Yeah. I'm gonna give you an answer. My knowledge is not global, but I think I can cover a lot and give you some examples. So, few legal frameworks explicitly recognize on-chain property right now and on-chain property rights. Like, for example, in the UK, digital assets like cryptos and NFTs are recognized as personal property under the 2024 Property Bill. The US lacks it lacks a comprehensive federal framework, but some states do treat crypto as property. Look at Wyoming in the last few years, and 2024 court ruling declared immutable smart contracts aren't property under sanctions law. So that goes for the US. But in the European Union and the European Union's MiCA, I'm sorry, the European Union's MiCA regulation addresses crypto, but doesn't fully define on-chain property rights. Not now, not just yet. So we see jurisdictional gaps and legal uncertainty that persists globally right now. Let's see what's next. Yeah.
Yeah, the legal framework is a minefield, isn't it? I know. I can think of one example I saw that was a fractional ownership NFT platform in the US, but it was really only operating in one state, and I think it was still in the very early stages of becoming legitimized, should we say, for everyone to accept that an NFT represented a small part of their property portfolio, for example, for sure. Okay, let's move to our next question. So,
Alexandra.
Alexandra. Yeah, in 5 years, will we need a new data layer that sits between raw chain data and user applications to manage ownership?
Well, I'm going to give an objective answer as much as I can. So likely yes. In 5 years, I believe a specialized data layer could emerge to streamline ownership management, and that will be, in my belief, that will be bridging raw blockchain data and user applications for scalability, privacy, and legal compliance, because we were just talking about that.
For sure, yeah. Okay, let's move to, I think, what could be the final question we've got from our audience. When GDPR's right to be forgotten clashes with blockchain's immutability, which should prevail for mainstream adoption?
Well, I believe for mainstream adoption, I believe blockchain's immutability should prevail, because it's core to trust and to decentralization. I mean, GDPR's right to be forgotten can be addressed off-chain or via privacy-focused data layers, and that's balancing, and that could be balancing compliance without compromising blockchain integrity. This is what I think.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because it's almost a built-in behavior that once you transact on any public blockchain, that information is there for as long as the blockchain is there. Anyone can query that information, and it's perhaps a view that it's down to the individual user, perhaps, that they should be fully aware their what they're trying to put on chain, because I think the right to be forgotten is often tied to things like personal identity and those things. Obviously, we try to keep away from specifically storing on chain, but it's something I think that just can't be avoided, right? Once you've published something or published an NFT or put some kind of a ID on chain in some way, it's there. It's there forever. So it's just by the nature of the system, it can't be it can't be forgotten. So yeah, I totally agree. I totally
Yeah,
agree with
yeah.
you on that one. It's blockchain which has
It's a total and it's a total set of behavior of your blockchain persona, and that
mhm,
behavior encompasses whatever you want to keep there, whatever you want to launch and hold, even a post or an NFT or whatever. If you want to build in the metaverse, can be a land, a location, um, especially in geolocation metaverses. Like I've been there active in the last 3 years, but in fact, this whole persona behavior, um, it is recorded on chain.
mhm,
Okay, no central party owns this data, but it should still be rewarded because your persona is having its heartbeat. It exists. It makes it adopts this maybe even daily behavior of being active in that blockchain, even maybe sometimes vouching for parts of that blockchain. And I believe in a system of fair rewards and data of ownership. And of course, that is a main core belief of when it comes to blockchain as well. So
mhm,
it should come out of obscurity, and really need to touch point with this sensitive behavior and balance the transparency of data and the true ownership rights. Anyway, yeah,
absolutely. Okay, Alina, I think we've just about run out of time. So I think we can wrap things up there. So thanks to yourself for your insightful talk today. Sorry that we had a
yeah.
few technical issues
Thank,
on your side.
thank you for the logistics. And if anyone wants this presentation, just feel free to send them over to anyone who has attended. And I want to thank you all for your time, because energy is the new currency.
Energy is the new currency. Absolutely. 100% agree. Yeah. Okay. Thanks once again. That concludes all our talks today. Please join us again tomorrow for another packed day of informative and thought-provoking talks from blockchain professionals. Until tomorrow.